Welcome back to another edition of the Gabagools Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff. With me today for episode 81, as always, the Cuzzo Dan. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, you Gabagool. I just realized something. This is pod number 81 here, and we're
Mhm.
doing this on the I want to say eve. I guess that's not the right word, but week 18 in the NFL just concluded. So you got 18, 81, sort of a little flip flop there, kind of interesting.
There you go. There you go. Never, didn't even think about that one. So,
Yeah.
very well. Yeah. Week 18's in the books. Regular season's done. No more red zone. Now it's, put up or shut up at the playoffs. But before we do that, as always, let's do a little pleasantries here. Obviously, I think if you have a TV and you have Netflix, you probably watched Stranger Things, the finale. Dan, you watched, right?
Yeah, so I was a little out of the loop the last couple years with that show. I started it, saw season one, liked it. I don't remember if I watched anything of season two or not, but um, the woman Maria was into Stranger Things, and she was telling me about the finale, the last season, last episode. I'm like, okay, so we watched the two episodes that I don't. It was two or three episodes that dropped like the week prior to New Year's,
Yeah, on
and then
Christmas.
we yeah, and then we watched the 2 hour season finale of Stranger Things. Pretty good show, pretty good. Finale, if you will. Like I said, I was a little out of the loop, so I'm like, I was seeing these kids, and I'm like, God, I remember from season one, the small fry, right? And
Yeah.
then you got now they're all grown up, and now I was telling Maria, I'm like, what I'm interested in is what they're going to do after Stranger Things, right? Because I feel like when you get cast as a child actor, right, it's like it can be kind of hard to like get out of that mold, if you will. So, but Stranger Things season five
Hmm.
finale. Pretty good. What do you rate it on the Jeff meter 1 through 10?
1 through 10, I loved it. I thought it was like a 9.3. Honestly, if you had to give me a rating, I'm putting
Nine
9.3 on it. It was
three.
it was it
Interesting.
was great. The only thing I think they wrapped it up like the last hour probably could have been cut down, or they could have had a little bit more action leading up to it. So that I thought that was really good though. I think they hit everything they needed to hit with it. We're gonna do a little spoiler alert here, so flash it on the screen. It's a little reminder for later if this one gets clipped. But uh, you know, uh, with Elle kind of vanishing and kind of doing her little swan song, and it leaves it open like maybe she is alive, maybe she isn't. It's so funny being on social media. So many people are one thinking that there's this like unreleased episode coming out on the 7th. So you could bring that up to Maria. I don't believe it's actually true that they're doing that, but they left enough Easter eggs open for spin-offs and stuff,
Yeah.
hopping I can't and Joyce going to Montauk, which is funny because Montauk is where the whole storyline for Stranger Things came from an old like military base that they were doing like these like tests on site. Like you'll have to look it up. You'll go through a whole wormhole. But they did that. Elle, obviously disappeared and kind of went to her, place because obviously the bigger picture is that there was no perfect ending for her to be with the guy, like the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know,
love.
um, interesting though. This is what they do with these shows nowadays, right? They
Yeah,
wrap it up, so to speak, but they, like you said, they leave a few storylines or whatever's open, and then it's next year we're going to hear about the spinoff with Justin or with,
Dustin and
with
Steve.
whoever else.
That's another fan theory that people are saying that like Dustin and Steve are kind of going to do like some sort of like supernatural witch hunt show, like a paranormal type thing. That's just like fan thoughts, but there is like so there's going to be like an in between season. I think it's between seasons 2 and 3. They're doing an animated show that's already going to be released. I don't know if it's finished now or not, but I know that's in the works. And then I think that they're doing the Duffer Brothers came out and said that they're going to do some sort of like separate universe, none of the same characters. Everything's moved on. They're closing the book on that one, and they're doing like some
Whoa.
other type of Stranger Things type spinoff. So that would be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, that was 10 years in the making, obviously. So that was, when you think back to
Yeah.
like 10 years ago, what you were doing and you watched that show. And I was telling Allie about that too. I was like, going back to that show, just like thinking about, watching it then and like, oh, this is cool. Like, I remember like when it first came out and people were like, oh, yeah, Stranger Things, this, and this. And I'm like, I don't know. Cause back then too, I laughed because I'm like, I hated like all the mainstream shows that people were watching. Like I was just like one of those like, oh, I'm not watching that. Everyone's watching that, type of person. And it was just kind of funny, but full circle, 10 years in the making. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was just jumping into my 20s. So now you're making
Mhm.
me feel, making me
How do
feel a
you
little
think
bit
I
older
feel?
here. Yeah,
How do you think I
yeah.
feel? Yeah, turned 33 this year, and now like I was like 23 when that came out. So what a time! What a time to be alive. But some go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I like the show, but even more than that, I love the theme song, the music, whatever you call it,
Yeah,
like the
it's actually my
no no
ringtone.
no 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 no. I think they did a good job on that.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, I think that's either my ringtone for when random people call me or it's when Allie calls me. I have to remember because I know for a long time, and it still might be the Imperial March for Darth Vader's music. For if you've never seen Star Wars, a bunch of idiots, go watch Star Wars. The Imperial March is usually when Allie calls me.
Well, I was gonna say if she doesn't know that, maybe you
Oh,
should
she
edit
does.
this part out. But as
Oh
long
no,
as
no,
she
she
knows,
she knows. Oh yeah, she knows.
that's funny.
I'm pretty sure I told her that like right after we started dating. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be like the Imperial March or it's Stranger Things. It might be Stranger Things, but either way, yeah,
Either way,
yeah. Back when you had to buy ringtones too. What a time.
flip phones, buying
Well,
ringtones.
you had an iPad or iPod Touch, right? Or did you have a Nano? Any of
I
those?
had, I know I had a mini. Had an
Yeah.
iPad mini way back in the day. I don't know if I had anything before that.
Oh,
Maybe I
it's just
did.
so funny. So like I'm like
Maybe
reminiscing,
I did.
we go back even further. I remember for one, I remember going on the bus like with a Walkman.
Oh boy, sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
had that, and then graduated up to an iPod when those came out. So I had one of the original iPods. That was pretty cool. And
Do you
then
still have it?
somewhere in my mom's house, I do
Oh,
definitely
that's
have it.
cool. You got to keep
Yeah,
that.
I know it's a relic. I don't know if it still works or not. And then obviously the touch, and it's just so funny because I remember going to like the gym, and you'd have to have your phone on you in one pocket, and then you'd have your iPhone or the iTouch or whatever it was in the other pocket
Hmm.
playing the music, and then some people would have the nanos and stuff like that too. Crazy.
That's funny. I remember that too, having the phone in one pocket and then the iPod in the other. And then I finally got my first iPhone sometime
Yeah,
in high
that
school,
too.
and I'm like, okay, now I don't need two. Now I just got the one.
Right, exactly. And just remember how like those screens used to shatter too.
I was actually one of those kids that didn't shatter too many screens, but a lot of friends with shattered screens throughout the years, right? And I never understood I've cracked screens a little bit here and there, but
Yeah.
you see some of these kids and you're like, wait a minute, what are you doing here? And they're like, oh yeah, that's like my sixth phone. Like what?
I know. Believe me. No, I usually I think it took me until I was in college to actually shatter a screen, and it was more cracked. And it was because I was playing Leapfrog on the way to a bar after happy hour. So
That'll do it.
yeah. I mean, also we were playing Leapfrog, so you can only imagine how that went.
I would love to see that.
We'll have to have a little reminiscent podcast, glory days about funny drunken stories. I have too many of those to tell, so that'd be kind of a fun one.
You, me, and Rich. We'll get
Oh
Rich
my
on for that one too. I'm sure he's got a couple good ones.
absolutely. Yeah, that will be the perfect MVP Mount Rushmore one.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's jump into week 18. I will pass it over to you.
All righty. Week 18. We start every week on Thursday night. That is when the week begins. So
Except for this week.
except for this week. I was just getting there. I'm glad you brought that up. Not for week 18, but typically, Thursday is the first week, or first day of the week. So, first game of the slate this week, we had the Bucks do all they can do, but the wait and see tug of war goes the way of the Panthers. First time winning the division since 2015. Tampa Bay 16, Carolina 14. Low scoring snorefest gives Seahawks number 1 overall seed in the NFC. Seattle 13, San Francisco 3. A back and forth again. Texans win 9th straight, secure number 5 in the AFC. Houston 38, Indy 30. Costly turnovers bring grim end to disappointing year. Cleveland 20, Cincinnati 18. Falcons foil Bucks playoff hopes with Week 18 dub. Atlanta 19, New Orleans 17. Packers rest love for Week 19. Best rivalry in the sport. Minnesota 16, Green Bay 3. When I say best rivalry, of course that means Bears-Packers, not the Packers-Minnesota Vikings. Come on now, get your head out of the gutter. This is a good one for you. What it do, baby? It's the Iceman T-Law. I got my mouth looking something like a disco ball. Little Paul Wall for you. Jacksonville 41, Tennessee 7.
Oh, that was good.
Jackson Dart plays well. Is he the guy next year? Giants 34, Cowboys 17. MVP frontrunner Stafford's 4 touchdowns, finishing touches on tremendous season. Rams 37, Arizona 20. A safety and 4 field goals. Game-winning 60-yard field goal off the foot of Carlson puts a bow on tough season for both teams. Vegas 14, Kansas City 12. Eagles able to rest starters. Let's see if it helps struggling offense. Washington 24, Philly 17. My love, Maria's second favorite team, get mauled by May the Magnificent. New England 38, Miami 10. Bears lose late, still secure number 2 in NFC. Detroit 19, Bears 16. No Herbert gives Broncos easy path to number 1 overall seed in the AFC. Broncos 19, Chargers 3. Call me Mr. 4-touchdown Mitch. Trubisky cooks Jets. Buffalo 38, Jets 8. Wild second half, wild fourth quarter, even wilder finish. Rookie Loop misses game-winning field goal, sends Steelers to playoffs. Pittsburgh 26, Baltimore 24, and that is the wrap-up of the 2025 NFL regular season. Jeffrey, I will throw it over to you.
Well done, well said. As we always do, we start off with the first games of the week. So this is a fun one. It didn't go in Baker's way, unfortunately. I thought, like I said, I think pretty much all year the Bucks were a team that just could not get it going. They struggled with injuries, and then you had guys like Emeka Ibuka who just about fell off the side of the earth. He started off the season weeks 1 through 5, 5 touchdowns, and since then I think he had 1, and I might be even wrong on that. It was virtually non-existent. It almost just seemed like Todd Bowles just not lost the locker room per se, but lost the team. They almost did nothing, and they did enough to beat the Carolina Panthers, who definitely I don't think their defense is really good. I don't think they're going to make any noise. I think Bryce Young's not good enough to
Tough
get
draw.
them over that. It is a tough draw, obviously going against the Rams. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but yeah. unfortunate that the Bucks aren't making the playoffs for Baker. It's always fun watching him out there. He has a decent wide receiver group too. Mike Evans' 1,000-year season or whatever finally ended after how many years? Uh, yeah, Bryce Young. Let's see what you got, kid.
Yeah, this division's gone through the Buccaneers the last 4 or 5 years at least. I mean, they had Brady the last couple years, and now you've had Baker the last few. And Baker really revitalized his career going to Tampa. He got just got paid recently, so he's been doing well. He got banged up, I don't know, at one point in the season, and he's been playing through some stuff for a while. Can't make a ton of excuses though. It's the NFL, and you're right. This was a team that, I mean, everybody picked them to win it. They're going to go back and they're going to say there were at least 3 or 4 games in the regular season that they should have won that they didn't, and it was just one of those things. I understand. They took care of business in the week in the last game, but you left it so open that this or that could happen, and you only have yourself to blame. But I would assume they'll be back next year, and we'll see if Carolina can give the Rams a run for their money.
Yeah, should be interesting. And I mean, it is nice to see a team that's young like that with Bryce Young and Tet McMillan. And like I said, that defense is pretty nasty. They force a lot of turnovers. So should be quite interesting to see what they do. Moving into a game that was pretty interesting, not high scoring, with the Seattle Seahawks and San Francisco 49ers 13-3. Sam Darnold, back to back 14-win seasons. How about that? The last QB to do that in back to back seasons?
God, you know what? I think they had the stat up, and I feel like I should know this. Is he from our time? It's not. It's
Yeah,
not. It's not
it's
Brady, right?
recent. It is Brady. Yep.
Is it really? I guess. All right. I guess that wasn't that hard
So
to
now,
guess then.
who would have thought that Sam Darnold, after all the junk with the Jets,
Yeah.
comes out and did he light it up? No, not particularly this season, but he did just enough to help them win. He led a couple drives where they put him right back in it, like that Thursday night game against the Rams a couple weeks ago too.
Hmm.
He did everything he could to do it in that aspect, and Seahawks 14-3. Number one overall seed. They're a tough team. And Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet, that's a deadly rushing duo. And I don't know
Very.
if they run like a West Coast type offense for Darnold. I don't think it's really West Coast. I don't really see him moving that much. But what they did for that offense, they put him in a perfect situation to win. He didn't throw any touchdown passes this game, but then again, it was a very big defensive battle. They ran the hell out of the ball. But props to the Seahawks defense too. Once again,
Yeah.
they held Christian McCaffrey to 23 yards rushing.
Yeah. When your defense looks like that, especially against a team like San Fran that's been coming into form the last month of the season, and Brock Purdy having those back-to-back 5 touchdown games, and you're like, okay, like who's going to be able to stop this team now come playoff time? And they were billing that game as a pretty big deal, right? If San Fran won that game,
Yeah,
they had a path. I don't know if it was going to be number one, but they had a path up pretty high. But
yeah,
I'm glad to see Seattle win. I like Darnold. I've said this before. He would have been the guy I took in that class, and
yeah.
he's finally been coming. Everything's been coming to fruition for him. But we'll see. I mean, Seattle, you mentioned it. Their defense is scary. The one question for them is going to be is can Darnold play a clean enough game, right? He had like 20
Exactly.
turnovers this year. If he doesn't turn the ball
Yeah.
over, Seattle should probably come out of the NFC.
Yeah, absolutely. They would be my dark horse, honestly, if I had to pick a team. If they do win, I might have to get a Sam Darnold jersey since he did help me win a fantasy league as well,
Tough to go
even
with
though
the
he didn't.
number one overall too, because you don't always have the best team get there, especially because we don't have
Yeah,
Mahomes in the playoffs this year, and if he's in it, there's a damn good chance he's at least getting to the Super Bowl. But
yeah,
I like Seattle's team, and you mentioned it that duo with Walker and Charbonnet. If they're running the ball well, they run the ball almost 50% of the time. So if they're able to run it,
yeah.
watch out.
Yeah, exactly. And then like we said too with JSN, they could stretch the field. So
Yeah.
moving into a team, kind of a game that kind of settled the Bucks' chances here with New Orleans Saints and Falcons. Falcons pulling it out 19-17. Kirk Cousins, kind of just kept the team afloat. I
Captain
think they won
Kirk.
like what did they get win the last 4 games of the season? I think,
They did
and
win
it's
a
kind
couple,
of
I think.
funny
Yeah.
because I saw like a stat today, and it was like if they didn't lose to the Jets would have had the number one overall pick this year because of the strength of schedule. The Falcons would have ended up with the in the playoffs too because they would have won out.
How
Funny how
about
that
that?
happens. They did finish 8-9 too. That's the funny part. So
Three
it was
teams in
complete.
that division finished 8-9, and one of them makes it. And now you've got this 17th game in there where a team can finish under 500 and they make the playoffs.
It's kind of stupid, but that's ball, and that's part of actually playing in a division too. Like you can't just have these massive divisions, and I think that's something that I try to correlate to fantasy, and people don't like it too because a couple leagues I do. I have a division, and it's kind of very much like the Premier League, where you
Okay.
get regulated every year. So if you win, like you go to the top division.
Oh,
If
okay.
you like you move up, so you constantly are moving. If you
Yeah.
were like the middle of the division, because it's 12 teams, 4 divisions, 3 teams in each, and you move up. If you had like the middle record, you stay there. If you had the worst record, you drop down a division, and then you just keep going. So we've been doing it. You're entering, I think, year 7 of it now, which is crazy to say. We ended up moving the last 5 or 6 years. I've been in the top division every year, having to battle my ass off because I'm getting these teams that come right at me too. And that's the league I lost in the championship this year, partially because
Mm.
Brock Purdy went off and he had a huge day. He had Jackson Dart go, which obviously that was tough to go against. And then on top of it, he had what's his name? Purdy and Bijan. He had Bijan go off too.
Mm.
So finished second in that league, but Bijan did help me come back. And that league I was telling you about, the one I was down 80 points, I ended up winning.
Really? You down 80?
Yeah.
Who did you have again? That last
So
day?
I was down like 80 or 88. I had Kyron, Bijan, Parkinson, and Nakua. So I had enough to definitely do
Okay.
it. And I like calculated it out. And I'm like, I told you before, like, okay, if Nakua and Bijan go off for 30 each, all
Which they
my
did.
Kyron and Parkinson just needed to get 14. Well, Bijan went off for 50 something. So I'm like, yeah. And then the rest of them just
Yeah, there you go.
15. So I ended up winning like 295 to like 245, something crazy like that. So it was like super close. But yeah, it was so funny. It's like I looked at it after, I'm like, oh my God, I won.
That's my boy
Anyway,
Dijon.
yeah. Back to the Falcons. Not just talking about my fantasy team wins here, but Tyler Shaw. Do the Saints have a guy, Dan?
They might. I think at the very least he played more than well enough for them to give him the job going into the next season. And if they want to be competitive about it, you try to draft somebody or bring someone else in and make them compete for the job in spring training or not spring training, preseason. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that was one of those teams where we thought they weren't going to be that great this year. I told you I thought Kamara was a potential bust candidate just because I didn't think they were going to be able to do anything on offense. And one running
Right.
back isn't going to be able, if they know that's your best guy, you stop him at the line and he doesn't do shit. You'd have to look up Kamara's stats on the year. I don't think I heard his name as much as I'm used to hearing it. So I might have been a
He
little
was
right on that.
he You were. I mean, he got hurt, so it's yeah. I'll give you your flowers on that one for sure.
He,
But
he
he was
got
hurt
injured,
most of the year.
but point being, the expectations on that team were not great. He came in, won them a few
Yeah.
games with an offense that nobody really thinks has a lot over there. You've got Olave, yes, we know you got Kamara, but yeah, I mean, he looked more than serviceable in the NFL in his half a season, whatever it was, and I think you have to roll with him next year. Get him some protection, get him
Yep.
another big time receiver, and see what he can do.
I mean, yeah, he threw for over 2,384 yards. He only had 10 touchdowns, but he
How many
was a rushing
games?
attack. He played in 11 games.
Okay,
But Kellen Moore
that's not
offense.
bad.
If they give him a little bit of a leash, obviously, like we've said before, there isn't a whole lot there. But Olave had a really nice year. Went off for 1,100 yards, 100 receptions, and 9 touchdowns, and I think most of them honestly were with Tyler Shaw. So for what it's worth, I think he looked good. I think you have to definitely give him a look. And then on the opposite side, they fired the Falcons fired their head coach Raheem Morris. See you later. I'd like to see him as a defensive coordinator for the Jets. That's an opening, so that'd be huge. He's a Jersey guy, so
It's funny because I was watching SVP like right after they wrapped up on Sunday night. I went over to
oh
him,
yeah,
and then they're already mentioning one or two firings. Yeah, I'm like, man, they lose the game, and the GM or the president comes down and shakes Raheem's hand and says, "You're fired." I mean, what?
yeah.
That's
They
about
fired
as
the
quick
GM
as I've
too.
ever seen. That's right. They got rid of him too. I mean, you've got to be kidding me, right?
Had
I mean, that's a little
you had
quick.
yeah.
Well,
I
yes,
mean,
they had
Morris
expectations, but
Morris was yeah, and I think I think he lost the locker room because I know Drake London was
uh,
like pissed off. He
that's a
like
big
caught a
thing in the
touchdown
NFL.
pass. Yeah, caught the pass and then like went over to the like he completely blew off Morris and then like screamed at the wide receiver coach. And I think it's just it shows lengths too. It's like you had to feed Pitts all year. We've been saying that for 5 seasons. Drake London, when he was out there, he was the most effective wide receiver. You could argue in the league outside of like Jamar Chase and Puka Nakua, and then Bijan too. There was no reason that Bijan shouldn't have been doing what he did all pretty much all season, but Tyler Algier, he's a free agent this upcoming year, so we'll see where he lands. And I think it's a Bijan show going forward, man. I really do. I think he's going to be the number one overall pick next year in fantasy drafts. And then Cousins. I don't know how long Penix is going to be out. I think Cousins will be a stopgap guy, depending on who they bring in as the head coach and GM too. So I mean, I don't see any other teams trading for him.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think he did nearly enough. He had one game that wasn't bad. That actually was decent, where he threw a couple touchdowns. But yeah,
Yeah. Moving into a team that seems to still be struggling and hasn't fired their head coach, which I'm kind of shocked at, with Zach Taylor. The Cincinnati Bengals lose to the Cleveland Browns 20-18. Burrow threw for 3 touchdowns. Chase Brown 72 yards on the ground. Jamar Chase had 1. Higgins had 1. Brown had 1 in the air as well. Defense is non-existent on that team. Not really shocked. Myles Garrett did break the record. Unfortunately, it does have that little asterisk, as I said to you before, with the 17 games, but he did it in over or under like 100 something less snaps than Michael Strahan did and TJ Watt. So, for what it's worth,
Garrett's a man amongst men, right? I mean, that dude. You see him, and you're like, that is a big guy. He's on my short list of people that I would not like to see in a dark alley. Let's put it that way.
absolutely,
He's a big, scary looking guy. And Cleveland, your team still sucks even with Miles because he can't play offense for you. And Cincinnati,
yeah,
this is another very disappointing season. I know Burrow missed like 3 months with the toe or foot or whatever it was, but um, that's why you need a somewhat serviceable backup. Browning was great a couple years ago. This year was terrible. And yeah, you've got holes in other areas of your team, and you cannot be losing to teams like Cleveland and all these other bad teams you lost to all year. So figure some things out. Let's get back to being that team that
protect
was
Burrow.
beating the Chiefs a couple years ago, and everybody said this is the team to dethrone the Chiefs, right? Well, that hasn't really happened in a few years. So let's figure some things out.
Yep. Yep, exactly. We'll see what they end up doing. On the flip side, Shadur Sanders, I think he earned himself at least another year. Granted, this next upcoming class isn't super deep at QB for quarterbacks at least. So I would expect him. They might bring in a veteran, see what they can get, but I would expect you to see Shadur and Dylan Gabriel again next year for the Browns. But they also fired Kevin Stefanski, another guy I would love to see as the Jets head coach.
Stefanski should be on the short list of people. I mean,
He's going to get hired.
he did a
Tennessee, I'm
lot.
hearing
I'm
too.
surprised he's not already hired because you've got people that have already been fired minutes after the season ended. That's a guy that should already have another job. He's won a few games with the Browns the last few years, and I mean, since you and I have been alive, there are not many teams, if any, that have been worse than the Browns. So for him to win, I don't know how
Yep.
many games it's been the last few years. He'll land on his feet.
Yep, exactly. Next game, not really much to talk about in this game because it was the Packers were playing their backups against Minnesota. Minnesota is pretty bad. I know McCarthy got hurt again. I think nothing
Good
too bad
God.
from what I heard, but I think he played. I think he was playing hurt, and
Maybe
I
he
think he
shouldn't
just
be
got banged
playing
up.
in the NFL. Jesus fucking Christ. Got hurt like 8
He's hurt
times this
every other
year.
week. I
Mm.
know. Uh, like I said, not much to mention. Packers were starting Clayton Tune. They ran the hell out of the ball. They didn't really give a shit. Not much to say. Justin Jefferson, one bright spot. He's had over 1,000 yards receiving in each of his since 2020. So 6 years seasons, 5 seasons that he's been in the league, whatever it is. It's a big accomplishment. So good for him.
He's a stud, even if he's got no
And
one to throw it to him.
yeah, and Packers, like I said, like we said earlier, they benched everybody to get ready for the Bears game. Yeah,
We're
we'll
waiting.
talk a little bit more round three a little bit later.
Hmm.
But next game, Giants should be trying to lose to get a lower draft pick. They ended up winning. You mentioned earlier is Jackson Dart the guy? I think he is. I think he is the guy there for what he did with without Neighbors, without Scattaboo for pretty much the entire like second half of the season. I think the Giants are going to be an attractive job. Obviously, they have a head coach opening. Could be interesting. They're Cowboys. Nothing to really say there. Thanks for a little bit lower of a second round pick. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Um, yep,
Giants.
not much really.
No, yeah, I mean Giants are another one of those teams that really didn't do a whole lot this year, but yeah, one of the lone bright spots from them, where we saw some good things out of Jackson Dart, so I think he's another guy similar to Shug, however you say his name in New Orleans, where I think you got to give him the job next year most likely, and
Oh,
see what you've got.
yeah. Yep, exactly. Jaguars and Titans. Jaguars, sneaky team in the playoffs. That will be my dark horse, honestly, out of the AFC to at least make the AFC championship. I think that team is ready to win. Uh, Liam Cohen, he turned Trevor Lawrence around, which is great. They also have freaking probably the best kicker in the league right now in Cam Little. Dude just he lives at 67 yards. I feel like every other
Yeah.
week the dude's nailing one. Uh, I don't know if Cam Ward got hurt, but he was only 3 of 3 for 52 yards. I didn't really watch that game too closely,
I
but
think he did,
obviously
yeah.
it's another team with coaching opening. But Trevor Lawrence, 3 touchdown passes. Travis at Etienne didn't really do a whole lot running game wise, but I think it's just more so that how good Trevor Lawrence is. But I mean, I would love to see him start passing it to Brian Thomas Jr. Just feed that dude like 11 times a game, please.
Yeah, I tried to get Brian Thomas Jr. This was what his second year, so I tried to get him last year. Couldn't get him. He had a great year last year, I know that. But Jaguars, yeah, they're one of those teams where them in Houston, man, like they were like couple wins, couple losses, first five
Yeah,
ish weeks of the season, and you're like, yeah, what? No, I'm already out on these teams. And then you've got, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Houston won 8 in a row and Jacksonville won 9 in a row. No, I have that
yeah,
backwards. Houston won 9 in a row. Jacksonville won 8 in a row. Jacksonville still held on to win the division. Hell of a season for them. And you're right. You mentioned that
yeah.
they were able to turn Lawrence around a little bit and get him on track. I don't know if I have Jacksonville as my dark horse. They're a damn good team, though, and I like to see
That
teams
defense.
that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just, that defense is nasty, and I think we've said it before. So they match up with the Bills, and honestly, like we've said it
Yeah,
before, it depends on the MVP. If you have Josh Allen putting on that cape, as I always say, and he like just puts his head down and just covers it, I mean, it'll be hard to stop him. But the way Trevor Lawrence is playing, I don't think the Bills' defense is good enough to beat the Jags, and I think that's going to be the game to watch next week too. I think it's the first Sunday game too. Uh, that'll be fun. I think it's in Jacksonville too.
It is. I was just going to say that. And I think, other than obviously the Bears Packers, which is the best rivalry in the
Yeah.
sport, people can say, the Bears haven't been as good for a little while. It's one of the oldest, couple of the oldest teams in the league. The history between these two teams is unmatched, in my opinion. But the Buffalo Jacksonville game, that might be the game I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, we'll run through those at the very end, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, with the way Jacksonville played this year, and then we all know Superman with Josh Allen, so that's going to be a hell of a game.
Yep, exactly. Next game up, we got the Texans beating the Colts. That was a lot closer than it probably should have been. Riley Leonard, though, Colts need a QB next year. I don't think Richardson's coming back. Obviously, Daniel Jones was only on, I think, a 1 year deal, and he's out for the foreseeable future. So
Yeah.
we'll see what Riley Leonard does. I'm sure they'll bring in a veteran QB, see what he could do to sling it. There's more wasted years with Jonathan Taylor. It's unfortunate. I think they're keeping their coaching staff. I think that's pretty. I think they said that. Texans, they match up with the Steelers on Monday night. CJ Stroud, he did just enough. Once again, like I said, this game was kind of just like a meh game. It was very field goal heavy. I think there was a couple of just different, you know, I didn't really care about this game too much because we already knew that the Texans were in. So it was like, okay, whatever.
This game was like a tale of two halves for these teams, right? I mean, we
It
kept
really
talking
was.
about, we were talking about the Colts the first half of the season going, are the Colts for real? It looks like they might be. This team could be one of the best teams in the league. Can't wait to
I
see what
know.
they can do in the playoffs. One big injury from them with the quarterback, then they start losing everything. And Houston kind of started the opposite.
They
They
were
were
even
what?
calling before that.
Yeah, you're right. They did lose a couple right before Danny Dimes got hurt, and then Houston rattles off 9 wins in a row to end the season. They finished the year at 12-5. Yes, 12-5. So if my math serves me correct, they were 3-5 through their first 8 games. Right, almost the same thing with Jacksonville when they rattled off 8, and they're 13-4. So you got these two teams, man. They're hot at the right time, and not necessarily just the right
Yeah,
time. These two teams have been the hottest in the sport the last 2 months. So can't wait to see
I
both of
know.
them. And Houston's another team, really good defense. I like their head coach. Stroud has had another really nice year. Um, Another good matchup. Can't wait.
Yep, exactly. Next game, this one will be super quick. Is Bills beating the Jets 35-8. Uh, Helped secure the second overall pick for the Jets. I'm happy with it. Brady Cook, see it never. I think they said he was statistically the worst QB across the NFL this whole entire year, metric wise.
Hmm,
Um,
okay.
yeah, lot
Yeah.
to build. Dante Moore, get to know that name. If he does declare out of Oregon, he will be a New York Jet. There was a lot of shit talking today across the media because that's what the media does. They just like to pile on the Jets because it's cool. Todd McShay, who's not even on a network, who's best buddies with Joe Douglas, who got fired obviously last year. And if you remember Todd McShay, he was the one who used to do the draft process. He basically said that if Dante Moore should return to Oregon next year to avoid getting drafted by the Jets, which is hilarious because the Jets actually have one of the better offensive lines and a premier elite wide receiver, plus a plethora of first round picks in the next couple of years. They have 5 in the next 2 years. So, for what it's worth, you got Dante Moore probably pick number 2. If for whatever reason it's not Mendoza or Mendoza falls, then it'll be him. But Jets picking number 2, so it's a double edged sword. Obviously, a couple years ago they drafted Zach Wilson. That one didn't work out. We'll see what Moore is. I'm gonna have to do some more studying on him. We'll see what he does when the playoff is still going on. I think they play Friday, perhaps. But we'll see. Other than that, yeah, Jets, a lot to rebuild. Couple foundational. They got some nice bookends on their offensive line. Both of them had tremendous numbers the entire year for the Jets. Uh, I'd like to see them bring back Brees Hall. I think that'd be good. I don't know if they're going to spend money on a running back though. That's tough, but I think he deserves it. And then yeah, Bills basically didn't start any of their main starters, so didn't really make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
much
I
to
mean,
say.
you know what? Let's just hope the Jets don't mess up some of these picks. You just mentioned they've got 4 or 5 good picks coming up. It sounds like the Jets fuck up a lot of their picks, right? So if you don't fuck up some of these picks, maybe you figure something out. I've heard Dante Moore's name a lot, right up there with Mendoza and a couple of the other
Yeah.
guys at the top of the league this year. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yep, it'll be one of the two, and if not, it'll be a defensive player, unfortunately. So, but moving into the Chicago Bears versus Lions, honestly, didn't even make a difference with them losing. I think they still secured the second seed. So,
Yep.
they got the Packers, like said before. Caleb Williams, all-time franchise season, single season record. I believe he took it finally. So, didn't hit the 4,000 yard marker, but I don't know if they still count that in the playoffs or not. I don't know if that counts, but he'll eclipse it obviously this weekend against the Packers. Um, Lions, obviously they had Gibbs and Montgomery. St. Brown, he did enough to do enough, did enough to do enough against the Bears, but meaningless game. They weren't doing anything, so we'll see what the Lions do to rebuild next year. But on to bigger and better things for the Bears.
Yeah. And one more thing on Detroit. My buddy Jamison
Oh yeah,
Williams finally had a decent season this year. So I want to give him a little bit of
yeah,
love because we mentioned Olave a few
a
minutes
lot of hate.
ago, and I had the option to take Olave in the rookie draft a few years ago. I went with Jamison Williams off of some insider information, if you will. And this year was a little coming out party for Williams. He is so fast. Just fucking get the guy the ball, and
Yeah.
he'll run away from everybody. As far as the Bears go, all right, boys, listen up. I'm gonna make this quick. All right, it's time to bear down. All right. The Jets Gabagools got his Bears stuff on. I don't have it on. I want to make sure I don't jinx anything yet. I'm saving everything for Saturday night. I am working Saturday. I'm telling everybody at work. I'm not helping people when I'm done. When I'm done, I'm done. I'm coming in 7 o'clock. I've got to be in front of the TV with a drink in my hand and preferably one already downed. Um, Big game. Third time Bears and the Packers have met in the playoffs. I don't know how it's only three, but that's the stat. I believe the two times were in 2010, the most recent, and then 1946, so just a few years prior. Um, this is, yeah, you're right. It didn't matter because Philly rested everybody and they lost and gave us the number two. We'll take it. We get the game at home. And we already beat the Packers once. The only issue is the Packers in the two games we've played them have led for pretty much the entirety of both of those games. So a little worried about that. But Jordan Love isn't that good, and the Bears have a little magic this year. So let's do it. I don't even care if we get to the Super Bowl. This game is our Super Bowl. I've got two Packer friends in the friend group, Dan Ryan and Chad Handyside. If you guys are both listening, Dan, you're engaged. I love you, but fuck you and the Packers this week, okay? Chad, you are married, just had your first child. Love you, super happy for you. Fuck you and the Packers. They're going down, and let's go. And that's all I have to say for right now.
Well done. Well done. One more note on the Lions. Jamison Williams, that you mentioned him, back to back 1,000 yard seasons.
I mean, we got something there. And again, he had, I don't know if it was 7 or 8 touchdowns this year. He had a couple, but
Seven.
he finally
Back to
played.
back 7 yard.
I think he played the whole year too. The gambling thing, was that last year or was that this year? That was last year, right?
I think it was last year. I think it
Yeah,
was
so
last year.
he
Yeah.
played the whole season, wasn't banged up. Okay, good. Now build off of that next year, get even better, throw a few more passes to JMO's way instead of St. Brown's way, and then you got a real happy Dan.
Yep, exactly. Next matchup: Denver Broncos, Chargers. Broncos secure the 1 seed and the bye. beating the Chargers, who started their backups. Not much to say. Broncos are going to be tough at home. That is for sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully the Chargers come out and be healthy, or not be healthy, but come out and be hot. If Herbert needs this win. That is for sure. It's against the Patriots. It's not going to be very easy in
Yeah.
Gillette Stadium, but
In
I
New
think he
England
needs it
too.
for like the morale because if he doesn't win, I think there's going to be a lot of question marks around
That's
Herbert.
such a tough game though for the Chargers because I mean, look, Herbert's not 100%, right? He just had surgery a couple weeks ago on the hand or whatever it was. So, guy's not
Offensive
100%.
line is banged,
Offensive line's banged up
but we make so
and
many excuses.
yes, yes, but you know what though? You can take the excuses away. The Patriots are a better team, no doubt. And you're going to need
Yeah,
Herbert to outplay your MVP runner up, we're assuming, and Drake May, who has had an excellent year. And I love Herbert. He's my guy. Um, that is a tall task right now with the way New England's playing to go into Gillette, like you said, and win. Very excited for that game, though. And that one's got the 7 p.m. Uh, billing, if you will, on Sunday night. So another
yep,
game I
should
can't
be a
wait
fun
for.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. Next game, Raiders taking on the Chiefs. Game didn't matter because Raiders pretty much clinched it anyway, regardless. But Raiders win 14-12. Kelsey's potentially last game. We talked about him last week. But Daniel Carlson hit the game-winning 60-yard field goal. Should be interesting going forward. Obviously, we're looking at Fernando Mendoza. They did fire Pete Carroll. I think it was today. Raiders are a bigger mess than the Jets, and that's kind of funny to say because they really do not have much going for them. Yeah, they have Bowers, and yeah, they have Genty, but they have zero offensive line. They don't have a quarterback. Their defense is just as bad, if not worse, than the Jets. We'll see what they end up doing. Chiefs, on the other hand, a lot of stuff to really consider. Obviously, Travis Kelsey, that might be it for him. What are we going to see out of the wide receiver core? Because Worthy was pretty much non-existent the second half of the season once Rice came back. We'll see, and how quickly Mahomes comes back.
All I have in this one is if the Raiders take Mendoza and he ends up being decent, that helps me for Brock, and that's all I have on that one.
Yeah, I know. I think it'll be a good situation for him if he does go there, just because everything will kind of line up, and I think whatever coach, because obviously they have a coaching vacancy,
Right.
whoever wants to go get a number one overall QB, they'll do it. So it'll be interesting. Next game, we got our MVP. I've been saying it all year. I've been baiting the desk. It's got to be Matt Stafford and the Rams, 37-20 over the Cardinals. Cardinals are obviously horrific this entire year. One bright spot, Michael Wilson. He came out and balled this entire year. Trey McBride, solid as well. I heard that they're moving on from Kyler Murray,
Kyler, yeah.
so that'll be kind of interesting. I don't know if
That's
they
got to
fired.
be a
Yeah,
good
they
thing for
fired their
them.
coach. A lot of coaching fires. A lot of people. I'm kind of hoping the Jets fire their head coach too, but that's besides the point.
I'd be surprised if he didn't get fired, but yeah, I mean, we heard
I think they
once
get another year. Sadly,
we heard a few weeks ago that Arizona was not going to bring Kyler back for the end of the year. There's obviously a few reasons to that. One, Arizona was nowhere near making the playoffs, so no reason to have him come back. But two, I mean, we heard this when he came into the league, and like he's kind of I don't know, for lack of a better word, a malcontent, and he's he likes to play video games. Hey, I like to play video games too, but
yeah.
you got to study the tape too. Yeah, earmuffs here, children. You fucking idiot. I mean, you come on now, do something. Um, I know Arizona wasn't a great team, but yeah, Arizona's they're in some trouble too. I don't know where they're going.
Yeah, another team. Not a lot of bright spots. Let's just say that. But Rams are that team. They're going to be tough to beat. Once again, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a Seattle Rams rematch at some point. At least I'm
No
hoping
doubt.
for it because that'll be absolute cinema. So hopefully Stafford wins MVP. Next game, this one was easily handled. New England 38, Miami 10. I don't know where McDaniel ends up. I think they fired their GM, but they didn't fire McDaniel, which is always weird to me when when a head coach doesn't get fired yet, and the G and because I think I read an article that said that McDaniel might help look for a GM. But it looks like Tua's for sure out. So another quarterback. I was laughing to myself earlier. I'm like, do the Jets take a risk on Tua? Get him for whatever on the dollar because they'll probably be released because nobody trades anymore in the NFL like that. Like the days of trading first round picks are just about done unless it's a stud defensive player. It seems like, but Tua likely gone. McDaniel saved maybe that's weird, but Patriots they look good. I mean, it's funny that Ramondre Stevenson had 3 touchdowns today, and the dude was like a fumbling machine up until like what would you say, maybe the second half of the season. Yeah, 7 for
Yeah,
131. Can't believe it.
yeah. I mean, New England is one of those teams. Again, for me, it's just been a bit of an odd year because you've got a couple of teams that Kansas City, obviously the main one that they're not even in the playoffs. They should be there. And you look up and you see Denver won all these games. The Bears won a lot of games. New England too, for me, 14 wins for them. Nobody saw that coming. Good for them. And that first week matchup against the Chargers, very, very excited for that game. So we'll see how May the Magnificent comes out in his first taste of playoffs in the NFL.
Yeah, should be fun. Uh, Washington Commanders 24, Eagles 17. Commanders get that little moral victory, beating the backups in Philly. Once again, doesn't really matter much.
Yeah.
Philly was already on bigger and better things, honestly. That's a tough part with this last week. It's like, what do we even talk about when it comes to that? I mean, they were playing their backups, but Commanders have a lot to rebuild on that team. We'll see what they do with it.
I mean, all I'll say is this. I don't know if you have the answer, but if you are playing against the team against their backups, do you even feel good if you win?
Yeah, probably not. Probably
It's
not.
like
Maybe as a
you
head coach because you might last one extra week. But I'm hearing Cliff Kingsbury might be out as the offensive coordinator too. Whether either he gets fired or he just walks. Should be interesting though. I know he was a hot commodity going into the last cycle for head coaching jobs. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. And then Philly's got their hands full. They it's not going to get much easier. They got the 49ers, who are
no.
probably arguably one of the hottest teams. So not an easy. If you ask me to pick a team, I mean Seattle obviously would be my favorite, just because they've just been insane on defense recently. But uh, not an easy win. I think any team out of the NFC could win the whole thing this year.
It is a crapshoot.
Good luck, Eagles. Go Bird. Yeah. Last game, which was also pretty fun to watch, at
Yeah.
least the highlights, because obviously I fell asleep. But Steelers pulled it out 26-24, keeping Rodgers' season alive. One more game. Obviously, they're probably going to lose to. What's funny is they'll probably win against the
You
Texans, just
think?
because that seems to be how everything
They're
works.
in
I
Pittsburgh.
just feel it. They're in Pittsburgh. That's why. I think it's because it's in Pittsburgh. Rodgers is a veteran QB. He's back in it for the since 2021. He's not going to go out without
He
some
had a good
sort
game
of
too.
big game. He did have a good game. Tyler Loop shanked that field goal for the Ravens. Could have sent them to the playoffs. That hurts. Lamar threw for 3 touchdowns. I would love to have Lamar on my team if I could. If the Jets were able to give him, somehow get him, but it's not how this works, unfortunately. So
There's been a lot of rumors and rumblings with him too. Does he want to be there? Has he been playing injured the whole year? So
yeah,
both of these teams are going to could look a little different next year. We don't know if Rodgers is sticking around and Lamar. I mean, I'm assuming
so
he's going to
many.
stay there, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, honestly, too, Chris
It's a
Boswell,
good.
that dude hasn't missed an extra point in 4 years, and I saw him miss that, and I was like, wait a
Yeah,
minute, did Chris Boswell just miss a kick? And then you leave it open, and you're like, there's
I
50
know.
seconds left. What could happen? This second half's been nutty. Last game of the season. This is the entertainment business, right? Like, holy shit. And then Luke comes down, had a nice season, and misses the kick. Too much pressure for the rookie, and hell of a way to end the season. Did you hear Mike? I don't know if you heard Mike Tirico, but Mike
Oh yeah,
Tirico gets so into it sometimes. I love it.
I do too. He makes it so much better. But yeah, tough loss for the Ravens. They'll be back, as long as they have, whether it's with Harbaugh or not. I mean, there's so many. I'm laughing to myself now because there's so many QB. It's a good time to be a QB because you'll probably end up with a job somewhere in the NFL right now. And two, it's a good time to be going for a head coaching job. So there's gonna be a lot of turnover, a lot of open teams right now. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated as we go with that. But that being said, let's break down and give our picks for the postseason. Start off Saturday night, Bears Packers 7 p.m. I should have gone with the other matchup first, but let's just do the Bears and Packers since it's first on my list. Bears at home versus Packers. It's gonna be a tough one as an outsider looking in, rooting for the Bears, obviously, it's tough to beat Jordan Love. It's always something comes down to some silly play for the Packers that always seems to work out against the Bears. Hopefully, this is the return of fortune here. I'm coming up with that. I don't even know if that's a term, but Bears. I hope the Bears stick it to the Packers. Hopefully, they kind of stick it. Really pull it out for them. I don't know if Roman Dunze will play. I haven't really looked at that too deeply, but Bears at home. Give me that.
Ben Johnson era has begun. We're going Bears, baby. Bears at home.
Hell yeah. Perfect. All right. Rams at Panthers.
Rams.
I don't think it matters where the fuck the game is. Give me the Stafford and the Rams.
Yep.
All right. It's a fun one here. Bills at Jaguars.
This one, oh man, this one tugs at me because I love Josh. I love me some Josh Allen. Man, I know we got to be quick. You know what? I'm going to go with your dark horse on this one. I'm sorry, Buffalo. I think Josh has to just do too much in this game. I think Jacksonville is for real at the moment. I don't know if they're coming out of the AFC, but I'm going to take Jacksonville. What about you?
Yeah. Oh, give me the Jaguars. Give me T-Law.
Okay.
All right. Next game, 49ers at Eagles. That one's tough. I'm going Eagles in this one. As high as the 49ers are, I think that the Eagles at home is the difference maker. I think they're going to lean heavily on their run game. I think they're going to wear down the 49ers. I think they keep the ball out of Purdy's hands. They get him uncomfortable like the Seahawks just did. Give me the Eagles. Go Birds.
I think San Fran shakes off the rust from Seattle's elite defense. And I think the issues that Philly has had the second half of the year with Jalen not being able to throw the ball on offense is going to be too much.
There you go. All right. Chargers at Patriots. As much as it pains me to say that the Patriots are fucking back already, they're back.
This one breaks my heart.
2 years without them being relevant. Yeah, I really want to see Harbaugh, take the next step with Herbert. They should be, but they just don't have enough around them. Too many injuries. Give me the Patriots.
Yep, same.
All right, Monday night to close it out. Texans at Steelers. Give me the Steelers. A-Rod.
Give me the Steelers.
Yeah, let's go. And that is the Week 18 regular season's toast playoff preview. Be there, be square. We'll be there, as always, to report back. Any closing comments, Dan?
January 10th, 11th, and 12th. Be there or be square. Go Bears. Go Bears!
Go Bears.